Hello everyone, this is the Mighty Gluestick and I am your Dungeons & Dragons infotainment specialist, AJ Pickett. Hey there, how's it going? You alright? That's the story, mate. Okay, those of you who are long-time partakers of my offerings will know that I have an extensive file of viewer requests that I work through diligently. I call this the list, and I like to do thematic series of videos with related topics. But you will also know that I live by one of several mottos, and this particular motto today is, it's my channel, I do what I want! Now, I was having a conversation with an excellent friend, Oliver of Immersion Studios, about the remake of Stephen King's novel It, and the fact that I actually like the 1990 version of the monster. This video is not about that particular monster. I'll leave such subjects up to Arthur Kadar and the World of Monsters channel, but for the sort of movie monster goodness he specializes in, he's got some really good videos. You should check him out. No, I was inspired to think about how to take a nasty monster from Dungeons and Dragons and make it even more horrific than before. Horror, right? How to make a horrific monster. At this point in the video, some warnings to sensitive viewers are required. If you are phobic of spiders, stop watching this video right now. I'm not joking around. There's going to be some serious spider horror going on. No clowns though, just lots of spider horror, okay? I have a friend who's arachnophobic and I don't want to do any nasty damage to you. I have made an ecology video on the phase spider, but let's take a look at them from the next level, adding a little folklore, a little bit more evolution of their abilities and a lot more horror to what they can do to create a new monster. First, some simple logic. Phase spiders exist most of their time in the ethereal realm. This is a place of ghosts, spirits, and the departed, or at least the departing, as they travel on to the afterlife, judgment, sorting them into their correct celestial or infernal final rest, the realm of Kalimvor and other gods. There are powers here. One of interest from folklore is Arachne. In Greek mythology, she was a mortal who was so skilled and so boastful of her weaving ability that she angered the goddess Athena, who challenged her to a weaving contest. Athena wove 4 scenes in a tapestry, each depicting a boastful mortal being punished by the gods. Arachne wove 4 scenes where the gods abused humans for their own amusement. Arachne's work was much better than Athena's, and the goddess, in a fit of rage, threw a potion made by Hecate, goddess of witchcraft, which turned Arachne into an immortal spider demon, cursed to weave for eternity. There are other versions of the story, but let's go with an immortal spider demoness. Cursed and wronged by the gods, she weaves and weaves and weaves. In a pit of despair and darkness, she weaves, until one day another spider goddess comes along and usurps her. Thrown out into the ethereal mist, Arachne finds the phase spiders and hatches a vengeful plan. That other spider goddess, of course, is Luth, and the realm that she took over was the demon web pits. That's not official law, by the way. This is me making new stuff, okay? Very important note. There are other versions of the story, but yeah, that's the one I'm going with. She takes the spider's eggs of the phase spiders and consumes them, then gives birth to a demonic phase spider breed I'm going to call the Tarantid. There are some interesting folklore tales I came across involving spider bites and wild dancing, but I snared the name of that sort of wild dancing to fit this new monster, modified a little bit. Tarantids reside in the ethereal plane almost all of the time. They have the ability, however, of extending their long pallid forelimbs into the material plane, and another demonic gift from their mother, they have the magical ability to weave objects and seem to make them alive. It's a living web. They are possessed of a talent for imitating sounds and a wicked, cunning intellect that not only allows them to hunt and kill creatures on the material plane, they exclusively hunt intelligent humanoids, delighting in the cruel game of it and the terror they inspire. Through their actions, people have started to tell stories of these evil, infernal beasts and of Arachne. If things keep going the way they are, maybe, in fact, she'll start to grow in power as the belief and fear of the mortals begins to lend her the power of belief, the power of the gods. Not only that, but as an act of revenge against the powers that cursed her so unjustly. I mean, she won the contest. She was not wrong in saying that she was the best weaver there was. She granted her children the ability to steal the souls of her victims, delivering them back to Arachne, stealing from the gods. She has many uses for this soul power, creating living webs, bartering for the services of fiends and Yugoloths, and breathing new life in corrupted forms of spider monsters. So, to create the stats for the Tyranid, I'm going to make a good use of my new resource, the Tome of Beasts, and on page 361, I'm going to use the Ghostwalk Spider. This critter has all the basic stats that I need. I just want to add a couple of minor traits. One is the ability to mimic a voice, for which I'll use the ability of the Lacrucia from page 169, Lucrota, 169 of Volo's Guide to Monsters. And another is the ability to create a lifeline construct that the Tyranid moves around like a puppet. They can fashion something like a child, a woman, or a pet, and use it as a lure. When a person gets close enough to see it clearly, they must save against the severe fright. As the Tyranid stretches the construct open wide, like a doorway into the ethereal, when with great speed and ferocity they reach out to grab their prey. If the targets fail the difficulty class to save versus fright, they are incapacitated and easy for the Tyranid to grab and snatch back into the ethereal plane, sealing up the construct again. Now, you can imagine how terrifying it would actually be to race to the rescue of a crying child which seems pallid and injured as they lurch about slowly. Then the sight of the child looking up with black eye pits where eyes and mouth should be. Then long, hairy spider claws reach out through the mouth and the eye sockets, and the child splits open with a dreadful tearing sound, and something hideous boils out of a burst of legs and fangs and cold, black eyes. The body of the child stretched like some grisly lasso, that as it passes over the cold, dread mists of the ethereal are made the new surroundings, and the way back snaps closed. It's just you and the mists and a giant spider. As for the soul capturing aspect, take a look at the ability of the Devourer on page 138 of Volo's Guide to Monsters. Essentially, a victim that dies in the ethereal plane while in the clutches of the Tyranid has its soul taken and stored in a cocoon of lurid green spider silk. The new domain of Arachne is much like your old one. The murky mists of the ethereal become choked with gossamer strands of fine webbing, growing thicker and darker the further one goes, until the mists are filtered out and there's just a black void strung with millions of cobwebs. Many of them seemingly possessed of an evil animating will, delivering anything caught in them deeper and deeper into the lair of Arachne. This is not a true void, however. There are many, many things here, trapped and hungry. They lurk and prowl. Some are still and patient, others constantly on the move, stalking ever so quietly. The Tyranids are not the only nightmare creatures that Arachne has birthed here. There are many other horrors that haunt the webs. Many of them prey on each other, not well suited to stalking mortal prey on the material plane. There are those that lure the souls of the departed by stringing lures that seem like bright memories or distant welcome of loved ones standing on warm celestial light. Do not go into the light, my friends. Do not go into the light. When creating an air of horror in your game, it pays to introduce it slowly and steadily. Horror does not thrive on explaining exactly what is going on. Instead, going into detail on what is happening, the moment-by-moment details of a location and things changing, really gets the players tense, because normally they get more detailed descriptions of the environment when they have to figure out something, notice something dangerous, or fight something in that terrain. When they get a lot of description of something and the clues fail to surface, or they're not sure where the threat is coming from or where the monster is that they have to fight, they get confused, they get on edge, they get drawn into it. Do not break that tension. It's like a fire. You just feed in little bits of wood at first to get it started. Then once it is going, you can either put a large log on it and let it burn for a while. Somebody gets murdered, something horrible happens, you sight something evil, or put a bunch of smaller logs on it and keep it burning, get it burning hot. So lots of events that freak the players out, and you put them in quick succession. Otherwise, it's just a log every now and then. Something creepy is going on. Each log is some event, a hint that something very wrong is going on. Something is hunting the players, something they can't see but can smell, or can't hear but they can feel it move. A really good spot check for some completely normal event might allow you to pass a note to the player that they think they just saw a spider leg reaching out and grasping a doorknob, or maybe it was a shadow passing by as a door swung shut. Who knows? Spiders are patient and cautious, and they are also relentless. They're not prone to risking their own death in order to capture and kill their prey. They prefer to strike swiftly by ambush, overwhelming ambush, and then they immobilize their prey as completely as they can, eating alive their prey at their leisure as they drag it back to their lair. Tarantids have the added charm of really enjoying the suffering and fear they generate. They are demonic, so they derive pleasure from every act of destruction, and using bonds of love and empathy to hurt and torment mortal creatures before striking in a way that inspires as much terror as possible is the only joy they know, aside from the taste of despair as they suck the vital fluids from their helpless victims. So that is how I would create a horrific monster. I hope that this short little video is enjoyable for you and gives you some inspiration. I'll be back again soon. I'm working on a more complicated video at the moment on one of the playable character classes. Maybe a warlock, maybe a paladin. I don't know yet. We shall see. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll catch you again soon.